Right, so I want to speak for a couple of moments about the outcome of the match last night on WEC for the featherweight title between Jens Pulver and Urijah Faber. Now, I regretfully have to inform all Pulverites that Jens was not successful in his attempt to gain the championship. He lost via decision. So, a little bit sad about that. Having said that, I want to run through a few things. I shall start by focusing on Jens Pulver. I think he performed very well during the match. It's long been established that the persona of Jens Pulver and the persona of Little Evil are two distinct and different things, and I think in order for him to perform his best in combat, Little Evil has to be there as well, and I don't know whether that was the case last night. I just got the feeling that there were a few opportunities which he could have made advantages of, particularly in striking. Later on in the fights, round sort of 4 and 5, I think he had opportunity to finish Faber, and he didn't. Having said that, of course, I'm not the person who was fighting, and you know, all credit to him for sort of going out there, and I meant what I said when I said that I do not care if he never wins another match. You know, I don't care if he never fights again. My feelings towards him and my respect for him and my love for him won't change, and they haven't changed. And actually, at least this loss was in the best possible way. It was by decision. I don't think it was a particularly dominant fight. I mean, Jens hung in there 5 rounds with somebody who was striking. There was a difficult patch in the third, I believe it was the third, may have been the fourth, where Urijah got the upper hand, and any normal person, any less experienced person, would have been finished by TKO in the third, as was predicted by the majority of people. Didn't happen. Jens Pulver managed to pull through and take it to decision, where he lost. So he's now not unbeaten at 145 pounds, but at least it was by decision, at least it was in a title match, and by somebody who's not bad themselves. Let me now go on and speak about Urijah Faber for a moment. Urijah Faber is very, very big in WEC. He does very well in selling that institution, and he has said so in a published thing in the newspaper in Sacramento, which appeared on the WEC homepage just before he won the championship last night. And it goes on to say basically that there are very few people at £145 in his particular institution who are a great threat to him. One of which I think is Jeff Curran, another of which, particularly now after they've already fought and have had a feel for each other, is Jens Pulver if there's a rematch. Outside of those two, I'm not convinced that there's anybody in that division anywhere near Faber, and his record, with only 1 loss and now 20 or 21 wins, is sort of compiled still quite largely of people who are not well known and could be considered cans. Now, the guy is of great he's a reasonable calibre himself, and he's of a great character, certainly, and he's done very well, and I think he will go on to do quite well until he has a rematch with one of these two people and loses. He does say in this article that he doesn't want to move, and I think that if he wants to be tested like he was tested last night, and yes, he passed that test, but that was one test, and now he can more or less rest on his laurels for probably the foreseeable future, If he wants to be continually tested and continually grow, his best opportunities lie outside of WEC, with those that are considered true and honest fighters in the 145-pound category worldwide. You're probably talking Shuto. And it's unclear as to whether Urijah Faber would win in that situation, and he's not willing to move. And fair enough, it's understandable, and I think where he is at the moment he's doing quite well, and yes, he seems to think he can do well at 155, but he's not willing to try that either. Again, fair enough, but it's just important to note that Jens Pulver did. He didn't settle for a smaller institution, being a king of a smaller institution. He did put himself out on the finances to fight larger guys, and dominated his division, you know, earlier in his career. So there's a difference there. But I still think they're both fantastic. I think that Faber did very well. I think he did very well on his feet, and I can't help thinking that his training out with Penn may have been stand-up to prepare for Jens, and Jens's preparation may well have been ground to help to combat Faber. And in that respect, it's quite nice to see that they have both worked on the other person's strength. And on the ground, Jens was absolutely fantastic, and standing up, Faber was absolutely fantastic, and it was nice to see, you know, the two of them in that sort of respect. Liking the hairstyle of Urijah Faber, who has changed it slightly. Very exciting. It's always a pleasure to see what's going to happen with his hair. Is it going to be there? Is it going to be cut? Is it going to be braided or whatever? Yeah, I'm sort of more or less happy with that. And I think I've probably said about all I need to do, except to thank those people who have sent me messages on MySpace and on the forum after the loss, and because I think they understand how I really feel. And I also want to say thank you to Derek and Q, who together helped me actually get to see that fight live, which was fantastic despite the outcome. And of course, I hope that the damage done to Jens Pulver wasn't too bad, because it looked pretty bad afterwards. And he's going to have a baby, which is well, he isn't, but they are having a baby, and I think that's fantastic as well. So there we are. Probably said far too much.